is. Brings a little levity and enjoyment to the district in which I've grown to be very frustrated with at this point. I want to thank Reverend Collier for his comments. My message and his might be similar in tone, but I will not be doing splits like this room. I would start with really 4 areas that I had to cover this evening. First, I want to start with restoration. Again, you've heard it last month. You've heard about the commitments that I spoke of, the previous board members, current sitting board members, the commitments they made, not only to the staff, the community, and folks alike that supported the levies, that had 3 main focuses of bringing back transportation, creating competitive salaries, and retaining services for students. I see services for students have been retained. I see bus drivers are on the streets and use Toledo Public Schools buses. What I do not see is competitive salaries. We cannot be competitive if we cannot even get to ground zero. If we cannot get back to the days of 2009, 2010, we will not be competitive, state or local. It is frustrating to walk into buildings and hear about the restoration, and then let's couple that with the personal stories that we've heard from payroll. Now, before I make my comments regarding the payroll, SunGuard, and human resources, I must preface it by saying the new treasurer, Ryan Schulte, has been great to work with directly. He has done everything he can, given the conditions that he was employed into. The onus lies within human resources under the purview of the chief of staff, is my understanding. The payroll can only execute on the information in which they're given. I sat in an HR committee meeting just last week to hear that 2 months in a row, the HR committee board members were presented with the wrong hourly rate 2 months in a row. How is that acceptable? If we as teachers presented information 2 months in a row that was in error, we would not be here. We'd be at home with our fobs turned in, pending an investigation and hearing for the record. Now, we've heard about the system errors. We've heard from SunGuard that they don't know what's going on behind the screen and how payroll is being calculated, retro this, retro that. Let me take you to a conversation I had with a member last Friday whose payroll was deducted. We don't know how, we don't know why, but she had to call the utilities to beg them not to take out the direct withdrawal so they wouldn't bounce her check. That is embarrassing for a member. We are paid professionals. When will we be treated as such? We have heard from one of our career tech instructors of a 19-year-old who's making $70,000+. I have people in the audience that have been texting me that have 19 years of seniority in system services not making that much money. And they would like to know when they can expect a complete, honest, accurate paycheck. I believe Ms. Ramirez's point is well taken. We have seen so many numbers come across online pay stub. Nobody can convince me my pay is correct, even if it was correct. It is frustrating to walk through the buildings to hear that we're not being restored. It is frustrating to hear how hard it is to work to the rule. We know that it is not easy, but we also know that if there's a will, there's a way. There's 5 people that were elected to the school board to not only represent the students, but represent the staffs and ensure they're quality educators in front of the students every day. This is not occurring. I've received an email from a current employee who refuses to be named for fear of retaliation and reprimand, because that is the climate that has been created by current upper management. She is frustrated that her son has applied with the district, only to be told that there was a clerical error on the BCI. It had to be requested again. He has begged for a response from Human Resources. He is a certified teacher looking to go to Sylvania, Maumee, or Ottawa Hills, and her mother is trying to keep him within the district because we need qualified teachers. I've heard about their sub-shortage. What I haven't heard is the accountability or lack thereof in Human Resources in retaining and recruiting these individuals. And when it comes to recognition, our members are not being recognized for doing 8 hours of instruction instruction day, giving up paid planning, giving up their traditional planning to help students who are in struggle or in needs of graduating by teaching Plato and credit recovery. However, we were informed last week they may be paid by November 6th. This is 11 weeks into the school year. What business waits 11 weeks to pay their employees for the work they've already performed? This is not what I signed up for. This is not why you were elected. This is not why the cabinet members are in place. I've heard of commitments that this will be taken care of, but I've also asked to be patient. Now, I can tell you the most insulting thing I heard was on Friday when a call was made to the district regarding payroll, and the comment that came from the secretary is, "We don't promise anybody pay around here." If that's the case, then why are we promising to show up to work every day?
That's right.
It is very simple. And my last point will be recognition in the State Department of Ohio Department of Education. A week or so ago, a letter was forwarded on to me from the Chief Academic Officer stating that we are in serious trouble, that the district, or that the teachers rather, are refusing to do teacher-based team meetings. I have contacted the author of said letter and found out that fraudulent information was provided to the Department of Education. There are many individuals, buildings, and teachers and teams performing TBTs, or teacher-based team meetings. However, his understanding was that nobody was participating in the Ohio improvement process, which led him to send a letter threatening to take away past monies, current monies, and preclude us from applying for future monies. That is an insult to the teachers who are giving up their time during the day to do teacher-based teams. That's an insult to the individuals who are staying after school to better themselves working with their teachers. I find it egregious. I find it inconsiderate, unprofessional towards the people that you are charged with to make sure they have the best skills possible to educate our children. I would appreciate the recognition to the State Department of Education that we are participating in the Ohio improvement process. And in fact, the Toledo Federation of Teachers has never said, don't do them. We just said we're not doing them for free or discounted rates any longer. There are solutions. And I would end my comments by saying, I asked the Board of Education and Dr. Romulus Durant and his cabinet to work with the Federation on a solution and not make actions and complete actions that will hurt kids in the long run. We have stood ready to have solutions and resolutions to this problem. We have offered them. In fact, we've accepted your resolutions, only to have it rescinded. Now, we know there are issues, but I think the district must prioritize what those issues are, sit down with a plan of attack, and let's do what's right. TFT has sent its intent to bargain with the district back on September 28th. We received a response a couple weeks later. We stand ready to meet and negotiate as we have in the past. I know there has been a call for public bargaining. I do not believe that is the best approach. However, something must be done to bring stability back to this district. Something must be done where the elected officials in this room are held accountable for the commitments that were made. And the TFT would expect an answer in the near few days. Thank you.